Guys, a PSA announcement. WoW needs tanks. WoW needs tanks, okay? There are no tanks playing the game right now. Besides legends like myself who will play tank no matter what till the end of time. Blood DK is what I play and will continue to play. It's been tough out there to find tanks, and I know that because even when I look for one fucking co-tank for raid, I can't even find one. So maybe 11.2 is the time for some of you to finally try tanking. Here we go, at 11.2 tank tier list, the most fun tanks to play in 11.2. Will tanking be fun at 11.2? Let's see what Marcellian has to say.
Is it finally fun to tank in Season 3? Well, welcome back to Marcellian Online, and I will tell you that it kind of is and kind of really isn't, depending on which tank you actually play. And part of the fun with tanks is actually being able to survive the damage and to actually do damage, because it's not fun to lose aggro every time and have your DPSers die in the middle of the...
Part of the issue with tanking, and I know it's an early pause, but it's Blizzard's own doing. They nerfed the shit out of tanking. If you ever tanked in the past, you would already know. Tanking has been, completely changed for what it used to be. It used to be this badass who could never die, AoEing the shit out of everything. You just felt like unkillable. And then Blizzard said, well, we don't like that. So what we're going to do is, in fact, make you extremely killable, but not offset that with, like, really cool DPS or anything. No, we're going to make your DPS low, relatively speaking, to DPS's numbers. And then we're going to make you also very squishy, so you need healers too. Good luck. Have fun with that. Also, we're going to make healing harder to do. So, it's like a recipe for disaster. And essentially what it's done is it's led a lot of people to stop playing tank, which was already a rare thing to begin with, which now means we have an extreme tank shortage.
Their cooldowns, because they're going to tell you the game's not fun if that happens, and they might not invite you again to the party. But we're going to start it off with Blood Death Knights. And the more we go into the War Within and the World Soul Saga at this rate, with the current mentality of the devs when it comes to how tanks are supposed to perform gameplay-wise, numbers-wise, Blood Death Knight is just gonna drip down the fun list more and more and more and more. And I think right now, for the first time ever for me, it's really, really low. I think I'm gonna put it all the way down into C tier.
Jesus Christ. Should I just uninstall this game? Why does Blizzard hate Blood DK? I mean, we just read the patch notes. We're getting an overall damage buff of like 8%, which is good, but my God, he's putting it at C. I just need to uninstall.
I'm
playing a game that doesn't want me to play it.
Then there are tanks, but we have been doing the video. Fun tier list for all of the specs, and in the spirit of keeping it consistent across all of our videos, we're going to keep all of these tiers. However, Blood DK is just not fun. Although the kit itself is fun and it's nice to not be reliant, it's hard not to feel like you're limited in terms of what you can potentially do, both in the talent.
A lot of shit talk in the chat right now. You guys don't realize how lucky you are that you literally have a dedicated and reserved tank for your raids, thanks to this stream. All right? You guys are all shit talking me. I'm about to let aggro go sometimes just on purpose, just to see what happens. How about that?
Builds that you can do, considering that more than ever you would probably want to use Gorfine's Grasp and the silence of the Gorfine's Grasp, seeing as how well Prot Warrior did with their silence to their challenging shout, and the fact that that's almost impossible to take while also having good enough talents to not die or deal enough damage to not have your melee DPS die, since they would probably die first before the range if you lose aggro. It's just not a great place to be, and not to mention the fact that Blood DK is kind of always going to be limited in terms of the content that it can push. Now, in raids, you're probably going to be fine, and it's looking like a nice, fun raids, and Blood DK is always cool in raids. But in Mythic Plus, where normally we mostly play all of these characters because we play a lot of alts in Mythic Plus.
Just say it, Vengeance Demon Hunter. Mythic Plus, Vengeance Demon Hunter. We already know these half-naked elves jumping from mob to mob, swinging their dick around. That's what people want. That's what the people want to see. They want those fucking elves doing their thing. Nobody wants to see a badass Blood DK slow running a fucking Mythic Plus. We know. We know.
You're going to probably hit a wall
because a tank in leather makes so much fucking sense. It's stupid ass shit.
In terms of like how high you can push first before every other tank, just because your kit does not match the encounter design. I think like either the class team or the encounter team or both at the same time need to look at each other, sit in the same room and talk about Blood DK and how it should actually operate in endgame content. Before we move to Vengeance Demon
Great.
Hunter, I do have to say that we've been doing quite a bit of work on our Patreon page, on patreon.com/MarcelinoOnline. Now, of course, if you're interested in supporting us a little bit more, know that you might be eligible for some really awesome perks. Some of them that you might have known over the course of the years, like access to bloopers, a special channel on our Discord where we talk and feedback a lot of the stuff. But
shameless
also
plug. I
with
mean,
the upcoming of season
gotta
3,
hustle.
we have UI modifications, specifically the Marcelino
I don't
Online
mind it.
flavor of Plater that you might have played with or seen on our channel past season. Now, this is not a Patreon exclusive thing. This is going to be free for everybody, but usually Patrons have about 1 to 2 weeks early access on these, since we do try to work on. I'm also working on some weak auras for all of the classes that you will be able to see and get your hands on earlier if you are patrons. So if you thought about supporting the Marcelino Online boys, we obviously will have more and more content for you guys, and we super appreciate all the support. We won't be able to do this without you guys, I'm gonna be honest. So much love to you. Check the link down below, patreon.com/Marcelino Online. Love you. Now, Vengeance Demon Hunter, dude.
Give it the S+.
This is like a love-hate relationship for me. This is the kind of tank that I hate that I love it. I'm gonna put it all the way into S tier. The fact that I
Of course. I mean, he didn't put it in S+ just because then it would literally be too obvious that Blizzard can't get their lips off of Vengeance Demon Hunter's cock. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, this hasn't changed since they freaking got introduced into the game. It's literally Vengeance Demon Hunter was created for Mythic Plus, and that's why people freaking love it, and they can't stop playing it. It's also like a 2-button rotation, so that also helps it, whereas Blood DK requires every skill known to man to be able to fucking play it. You know, there's the difference between those two tanks. And of course, yeah, people are just going to face roll Vengeance Demon Hunter. They're going to go in with their fucking assless leather chaps and tank with it. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Am I salty about it? Yeah, I'm salty. Yeah, I am. Because I feel like it's like that meme where that fucking guy's sweating, you know, and he's playing the game as hard as he can. And then you got the other guy fucking, you know, singing a song, you know, flicking his left nut around on the keyboard while he freaking tanks a Mythic Plus, and that's how easy it is for them. Yeah, no, it doesn't feel good.
probably didn't play it as much might mean why it's not S+ tier right now. Because Vengeance is actually really fun. And to be fair, at the opposite side of the table of Blood Decay, the fact that these seasons of the War Within are so punishable for tanks and Vengeance just has tools to deal with these issues is just fun. Like, if I hop under the wheel of Vengeance, I just feel, oh my god, fuck, it's so good. Oh, I can finally do content. It just feels nice to have tools to deal with stuff, and that's been the case for Vengeance at least since its rework back in Dragonflight. Now, I know a lot of people don't like it when Vengeance is meta. I don't really care if Vengeance is meta or not, but it's hard for Vengeance not to be meta, because if it's able to survive high incomes of damage and able to heal it back up, because that's kind of how your mitigation works, then you're likely going to feel overpowered since your kit is just really good. Your silences, your grips, your amount of parry, your multiple access to meta, which heals you and gives you a decent amount of damage. It's just really good.
Also, I mean, don't forget the sheer speed with which they move. It's another factor. They're extremely quick, you know, where other tanks are much slower. They're just a very fast tanking class, which means they can hop from mob to mob, or they can run around and pull an entire room to agree. Like, it's very easy for them
to have. And if you don't have those, and if you nerf those, Vengeance might just be just as good as Blood Decay. So I don't know if there's like an in-between with Vengeance in the way that it's designed. I just hope that other tanks obviously are just as strong as Vengeance, but I don't think you can nerf Vengeance and still be good. If you nerf Vengeance, it might just be terrible. And that would be a terrible way for Vengeance players to actually engage with the new content. Bear is actually not the same as Vengeance. You can have a weak Bear and still be able to survive right now and still do a lot of damage, because the Bear utility kit is not that
Guardian Druid. Before he ranks it, Guardian Druid's had its trials and tribulations lately, but I think they're doing better this tier.
As it is for Vengeance. However, Bear is becoming more and more boring as the seasons go on.
Oh, no.
And as a tank that usually is my thematically favorite tank in the game right now, it's just incredibly tedious to play. I'm not a fan of the way that Race has been reworked, and now it doesn't replace Maul anymore. You barely even play it. The bottom side of the talent tree is very point heavy. You don't have a lot of options to alternate. You kind of just pick the same talents over and over again, regardless of what you actually play. Druid of the Claw, which has been one of the things that was most exciting.
What do Druids play right now? I feel like all their specs are kind of off. Boomkin, right? Actually, Boomkin is the one people are playing, isn't it? That's the one. Feral has been like Blizzard been like flirting with them, but they haven't made them like really great yet. They just kind of had like they've been mid tier. Yeah, Boomkin. Yeah, and then Restro. Okay, it's a healing class. That's fine, but whatever. And then Guardians have just been kind of shit too. So yeah, it's Boomkin or bust right now. Feral is busted if you know how to handle it.
That about going to the war within still hasn't been addressed.
Good to know.
The third season going in, and you're probably still going to be play Loon's Chosen, Loon's Guardian, or whatever it is, which is nice. I like Galactic Guardian as much as the next bear, but I'm getting bored. I want to play maybe a more physical build. Maybe I want to play Pulverize. Can I play Pulverize? It's been a thing for like 8 years now, and I've never really felt like that was an important ability to take. I'm not opposed to Bear being simple, but I think the best version of Bear was in Dragonflight just before it became the overpowered God Comp Bear, where you had so many options of gameplay. You could play Thorns of Iron and do damage through iron.
They were pretty meta on Dragonflight.
You could play Raise and do damage through physical bleeds and AoE raises. You could play the balanced version, the Arcane Bear, where you could go full on Moonfire and do a lot of damage that way. We're not getting that anytime soon, and I think that's what probably keeps Bear from being any higher. Brewmaster, however, with the rework has become... No, wrong. There we go.
What?
So scared for a second there, guys. Jesus, man. I'm so glad that I can act.
I will say, though, Marcellian, I feel... well, this is Flame, but I feel he really loves Monk. Like, in general, I feel like he has a love of, affectionate relationship with Monk. So, his idea of fun with a Monk might be different than yours, but, I mean, yeah, they're in a good spot, I guess. S+ tier.
Actually, move it back to S+ tier. Listen, if you have seen our Brewmaster rework video, know that it's getting better and better with each new week on the PTR.
He loves Monk.
Maybe finally we can have a Brewmaster meta in M+, which hasn't been the case since Battle for Azeroth, and even then, I struggle to remember if it really was that strong. We could all use a little bit more Monk love in our lives, and even though Brewmaster is not perfect, it still has its issues right now. The capstones are still kind of terrible, and kind of the only reason you play the Weapons of Order capstones is because the tier set just really makes your Weapons of Order pop. But having a tier set actually make your talents good just seems a terrible way to design a spec, so I'm hoping that they take that into consideration and actually either buff the capstones for Brewmaster or completely change them, because it's still pretty atrocious. The only thing kind of that's left for Brewmaster to have fixed. So that's great. Also, moving into Prop Paladin, I want to put it similar situation with Vengeance Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
It's close to being S+ tier. I think
I would say like Prop Paladin is usually the one that'll unseat Vengeance Demon Hunter for a little bit at times. It's it's a beloved class. People love it to play it. Blizzard loves Paladins in general. So yeah, I mean they're the other class that like, oh god, here comes Prop Paladin meta again. It's always Vengeance Demon Hunter or Prop Paladin for specifically for Mythic Plus, and then Prot actually plays great in Raid too, a lot of tiers. So yeah, no surprise there. Yeah, Prop Paladin having a good time.
I don't know if I want to put it in front or behind Vengeance. On one hand, Prop Paladin's kit is probably better than Vengeance, and it would be the kit that I would love to have as a tank for my group, where I can actually help people out. I can heal them, I can make them immune, I can dispel different dots from them, and that's really great, and I can do a decent amount of damage. Now, the problem is that Prop Paladin is extremely squishy compared to the other tanks, maybe even squishier than Blood Decay down there. Some people argue, but I still think even though it might be squishier than Blood Decay, you might still be able to push higher content in Blood Decay because you have better defensives, better cooldowns, and more damage. They have been buffing Prop Paladin's damage for the past 3 to 4 seasons. I don't mind Prop Paladin have a lot of damage. I still feel like Prop Paladin should be a more defensive tank rather than a more offensive tank, considering like its utility kit. You cannot have both, because if you have both, it easily becomes the meta tank, since its utility kit is just overpowering any other utility kit of any other tank. But that's where it is right now. Moving on to Warrior. This is a difficult one to judge, since it's been the tank of choice in this season.
I will say Warrior just got buffed like a day ago, so it's probably going to be better than whenever... I don't know when he did this video. Let's see. This video came out 17 hours ago. Oh, so maybe he's considering it. But yeah, Warrior just got buffed. Prop Warrior specifically.
Season 2 right now, despite...
It's like an 80% buff across the board or something.
And
Same with Blood
it could either be S+ tier next season, or it could be at most A tier next season. Spell block has been removed, and it's this is so ironic because we're going into a season like Halls of Atonement that has created a world where Prot Warrior needed spell block. Kind of Prot Warrior wanted spell block because Halls of Atonement back in Shadowlands. And that's when it got it. Now, they've changed recently Halls of Atonement so that all of those wicked bolts and all of that magic damage doesn't go on you all of the time. It goes on your party. On one hand, that makes spell block being gone not that bad. On another hand, that...
Actually, you're right, Jonesy. It's not Prot. I'm remembering it is. It's Arms and Furry that got the 8% buff, not Prot. So, yeah, I misspoke. You're right. I didn't even have to reopen the notes. When you said it, I was like, oh, yeah, he's right.
Makes you being a tank feel worse because you're
Blood
just not
Decay
taking
did,
the
I know
damage
that.
for your party. Your party's just taking the damage for you. So I don't know how to reconcile that fact. Just because the mobs don't
This
cast
morning
on
you
you
got a buff
doesn't
on
magically
PTR,
make
okay.
you better at dealing with magic damage. I don't know where this makes Prot Warrior
No, yeah, it didn't. It's Fury and Arms. I checked the notes.
land. Now, that is the downside of Prot Warrior, where you feel like you're back to having a glaring weakness with no really clear solutions for it. We'll see how that plays out, if they change their mind or if they buff Hunker Down and Spellbreaker, which are kind of replacing Spell Block, although they say that they didn't want them to replace Spell Block. But if they don't want them to replace Spell Block, what is Warrior supposed to do when it doesn't have Spell Block anymore? However, if Mountain Thane Execute Prot Warrior becomes a valid way to play Prot Warrior, this is easily the best tank in the goddamn game. I have huge doubts that that's going to be the case because the devs just don't like tanks doing a lot of damage. And even though they kind of reworked Prot Warrior to have all of these new execute talents that make it incredibly fun to be able to execute, Mountain Thane has been historically terrible for Prot Warrior for about 2 seasons now, where you just play Colossus because of the damage.
Sir?
So I don't know. We haven't seen anything on Prot Warrior, at least on this front, for about 2 to 3 weeks right now. This week we haven't had anything yet as of recording this video. So I don't know where to put it right now. I think I'm gonna put it down to about 8. I'll put it A+ tier at the moment. It could easily be S+ tier, or it could easily drop down to
Better than Blood.
kind of Bear is at the moment. I'm a fan of Warrior in general. I think Warrior is just really fun to play as a tank. Prot Warrior is the only Warrior spec that I can realistically play right now without wanting to snort paint. So this is where the tier list will look like when it comes to tanks. And if you want to take a look at some other fun tier lists in the Marcellian Online style for Season 3, we just released our range DPS tier list right here on...
Great.
Right here, right now. And it's similar to the other fun tier lists that we've done. It seems very divisive.
I'm gonna eat
we
shit.
have a lot of specs that are either really fun and a lot of specs that are either really not fun this season for the kind of probably first time ever.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough patch for me. Yeah, this is depressing. So should you start tanking in patch 11.2? Yeah, you know what? Just do it. Do it. Why not? End of the patch of a cycle here, end of the expansion patch. You can actually gear out, get ready, learn to tank before midnight launches. But I guess you're not going to want to play Blood Decay because it's a hard one. It's highly skilled. If you're somebody who snorts paint and eats lead for a living, then yeah, sure, go ahead and play Vengeance Demon Hunter. I'm sure you'll be meta again. Nice video from Marcellian.